Director of the Mind Institute, USA. Mrs. Louise Gain, Genetic Associate at the Mind Institute. Mrs. Karen Riley, Assistant Professor at the University of Denver, USA. Mrs. Laura Bryce Hess, Occupational Therapist at the Mind Institute, USA. Mrs. Kerry Lemon-Streetwood, a Speech Language Pathologist at the Mind Institute. Dr. Robert Miller, Executive Director of the National Fragile X Foundation, USA. Dr. Jeremy Kraft, now for our national faculty, our chief guest for the day, Dr. P.G. Samdani. He's a pediatrician. So we have a huge round of applause. Professor B.K. Thelma, Department of Genetics at the University of Delhi. Dr. Vibha Krishnamurthy, Developmental Pediatrician. Dr. Ashwini Vaishampan, Occupational Therapist, KEM Hospital. Dr. Smita Desai, Special Educator. Dr. Omkar Tilak, Homeopathic Consultant. Dr. Milind Rajore, Mrs. Shubhangi Olak, Speech Language Pathologist. And our guest of honor, Mr. Shreyas Talpade.
Warm welcome. When I started off, I couldn't find a way, so I decided to pave the way. And that time it was I, because I was alone. But now it's we, because we're a family and a group of a lot of people. And I really need to thank everybody for being here. I need to invite someone on stage. Usually we say thank you at the end, but there would have been no beginning without her. And that's Jill Bajajkar. We started this journey with a conference less than 2 years ago, just 40 people at the same venue. Today we've grown to 400 people, and within 2 years it's going to be 4,000.
Confidence, and also replying to all those happy Republic Day messages on our cell phones. So let me just grab this opportunity and wish you all a very happy Republic Day first of all. Thank you so much for bestowing upon me this honor by inviting me here today and making me a part of this. I think I'm pretty fortunate in that case because you have to be pretty lucky and fortunate to be a part of a conference where you have really eminent doctors and consultants and professors, not only from India but abroad as well. So on behalf of Child and Youth and Fragile X Foundation, I once again welcome all the foreign delegates here. I'm actually too young to be giving a speech or anything like that, and also technically not qualified to be talking on a subject like this. But yeah, just a couple of things that I wanted to share is there's always hope at the end of the tunnel, and each one of us, though not perfect, we definitely have something special in us. I think even Varun wants to say something. So each one of us here has special ability, There's something special in us, which probably just needs to be recognized, nurtured, and developed. And I'm sure these 3 days we are going to be doing just the same.
Friends, I welcome all of you for this wonderful session on Fragile X syndrome. Believe me, when I made the first diagnosis of Fragile X syndrome, I hardly knew few lines about Fragile X syndrome. Naturally, once you break the news that the child is a Fragile X syndrome, the whole family is depressed, is worried, is concerned. They almost feel that why God has cursed me. Why such a thing has happened in my family? But there is a way to deal with such situation, and which I only showed the path and Shalini walked through very brilliantly. First time she came, I told her, she came naturally. Any patient who comes to us will come to us with a complaint what the child should do and the child is not doing. What the child is behaving normally or not behaving normally. So after listening carefully for about 15 minutes, I said, Mom, I allowed her to talk, and then finally I said, look, you need to remember 2 things. One, this child is not doing anything purposefully. It is his genetic characteristics which are making the child do this, so it's not child's fault. Don't blame the child. Next, you should think what you can do for the child rather than expect what the child can do for the family or how the child should behave for you. And I believe that was the turning point for Shalini, and she became so positive that she is walking on this path with total help to the child all throughout. And I wish the first thing to get onto this is accepting, and second step is to help.
You have a beautiful, wonderful country, and the people are so warm and welcoming and positive that we have had a wonderful, wonderful time. So thank you so much.
Truly a wonderful country. And like Dr. Harderman and the other guests, I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
Dr. Randy Hageman. She's going to be talking on Fragile X and autism, a family affair. And Mrs. Louise Gain, who will be talking on testing for children and families with Fragile X and genetic counseling. Thank you.
First, I'm going to make some comments about autism in general and talk about some of the various causes of autism, and then talk about Fragile X as a specific cause of autism. Ronnie has talked about this, but I want to reiterate, if you're fine with the FMR1 gene, you will have somewhere between 5 and 45 repeats. And right now we're saying you don't have to worry. The great thing about Fragile X is it can change tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you which one has Fragile X syndrome, because as I said before, every child is important, and it doesn't really matter.
I've been diagnosed as a carrier, but my son is Fragile X.
Yes, you must be the case that they told us about, where the mother was negative for the premutation or any mutation, but the child has a full mutation. That's a very unusual case. I think we have to repeat it in some other molecular laboratories to know for sure, but there's probably then a gonad mosaicism involved, where she may not have the premutation in blood, but she has it in her gonads.
I mean, in news, as far as Fragile X is concerned and autism is concerned, 2 new aspects are coming out. One is the stem cell therapy, and the second one is, food supplement. What I've just read in news, Ghana, where LLC. So what will be the far-reaching effects of this? If you can please enlighten us.
Sure. Well, everybody is very excited about stem cell therapy. Okay, but some of this stem cell therapy needs to be done in the animals first. And if anybody says they have a cure with stem cell therapy right now, it's a dream. But I think in the future it will be helpful. But there needs to be a lot of research happening.
Out of say 100 autistic children you have tested, what is the percentage of children who suffer from Fragile X?
So in general, when you work up autism and you do, a detailed, when you do not only Fragile X DNA testing, but high resolution chromosome testing, fish studies, we get to do multi-locus fish, or now people are doing CGH arrays.
And we're going to have a conversation with you, rather than just a lecture. So I hope and expect that you will have comments and questions for us, okay? And all kinds of cognitive disabilities. And that might work in some parts of India.
We should first lobby with the Rehabilitation Council of India, that is RTI, which has a curriculum for the Diploma in Special Education for Mental Retardation, where all the teachers who train for working with kids with mental retardation go to include Fragile X as part of their course curriculum, including all the other special ed courses that are run out of universities like SMDT and so forth. So we need to make sure that we lobby with them to include that in the curriculum.
And one thing I would say is, with all the awareness, and we've tried to promote our conference, we've really given out 15,000 brochures all over the country. And in fact, next month they have a meeting of gynecologists, and they've invited me to talk on Fragile X. So I was quite happy about that.
And it was designed that I would leave it for a while and then I would hand it over to the parents, okay? One of the things that we found was that oftentimes specific buildings like hospitals or even schools can create anxiety for parents. So that whole walking back into the place that is associated with something that's negative can be a detriment and a deterrent for families to even go. So thinking of a more benign kind of a setting oftentimes works well.
It's sometimes very difficult, some complex issues like this, to understand by one. When we talk about parents, like all we're talking about parents, we're not talking about parents, like two. We're talking about parents, either one. But I think only one person cannot make all the difference. To explain what a mother has understood over here, to go back home and explain the family is much more difficult.
I was as usual crying on her shoulders. My son is 18 now, and 18 years back in India, Fragile X was really not known. So I was fighting the battle all alone, I suppose. I thought so then. And I shared my feelings with one of the therapists. And she asked me one day, "Are you working?" I said, "No, I stay at home and I work with my child." So she said, "Okay, then someone has to earn, isn't it? So if your husband is doing that part, the economic part for the family, then why do you consider working for your child as a chore? You must take it as a duty because you're sharing that with your husband." So it's the perspective we must have correctly. Because see, as you rightly said, in all cultures, men don't like to share. But it's not that they don't feel bad or they are not hurt. It's our culture, they are made like that. So it's not always that the men don't want to share. I've come here today because my husband is taking care of my son. As you're talking about the enthusiasm waning off, what you can do is you can have representatives in every part of the country who will be leading the group in that part of the country.
People to join the Fragile X Society, so we can keep you updated about everything via newsletters, and of course that will be a big support.
Same thing in Tamil Nadu, because our government will surely help you. And then medication given is Risdon or Risperdal. Okay. Okay, I have several questions here, so I don't know if you want me to do one or just do one. Okay. One question is, can sign language be taught before children actually begin to speak or express their needs? And the answer is yes, most definitely. We didn't talk much about sign language today, because I'm not sure if India has a different type of sign language. You may be able to address that.
I will not say it can be taught, but it should be taught because signs develop much before the speech. So if we start with the signs, the speech does come faster.
In that 8 years, I have watched many parent groups chase after the big donor, only to always be disappointed. I'm not saying that one of these days it will not happen. People have been chasing after Oprah Winfrey for 8 years. Anything they could do to get her to pay attention to Fragile X.
Is who will take care of the child after them. And again, for that, we would say we need to be together and move people, create an organization, maybe a center, maybe a trust, and we need to work on that.
But it is an interesting theory about why there's so much autism today.
This is a very brief question on where can we get the Fragile X test done in Mumbai and how much does it cost?
Yeah, I can talk about treatment for carriers later too. And then I'm just ending with the Fragile X Foundation contact information. Thank you very much.
I think for many of you this might have been new, especially for the therapists, in terms of the whole concept of amplification, the pre-mutation and the mutation. I think it's important for us to recognize that Fragile X presents with more than just mental retardation, and also with learning disabilities, anxiety, mood instability, and most importantly, we need to look for pre-mutation syndromes, that is FACSTAS, premature ovarian failure, and autism in the males.
I must begin by first thanking Shalini for her absolutely heroic efforts in getting this together. When we met in Atlanta last summer, it was all kind of a pipe dream and nothing more. And then from translating from that point to here, took an enormous amount of effort on her part. And so I salute her for doing what she has done.
It's really important, and a genetic counselor can be the key person to develop a strategy about how to inform other family members at risk.
Okay, so we want to look at the goal areas now, and so we want to look at the sensory diet. This is going to help his attention. If he's hyper-aroused, he's not able to attend, and if he's not attending, he's not learning. So we really need to help the sensory system to get him ready to receive instruction.
Many times in a day it happens up and down. So I really, get at a loss whether I should concentrate on those activities or these activities.
Right, and I think that's a great example, and I think that happens to so many of us that, yeah, through a day, things cycle up and down. And so also based on some of the things that Karen mentioned today, blending positive behavior management strategies and determining what things help bring her up, and then which kinds of strategies help decrease her arousal. And so, and I think it would probably also be that she's up and down, but not every day is the same up and down. So sometimes, she's up in the morning, and sometimes she's down in the morning, and and it's very variable, and it makes it really challenging. But working with your team to determine that. But I would also imagine that in addition to really getting a sense of what her sensory integrative needs are through the OT, you absolutely want to collaborate with whoever the speech and language pathologist is, as well as the psychologist, because I think probably a blend, given that she does have autism and ADD, she's going to need structure, positive behavior management, and then those sensory strategies brought into your home and into her school setting.
Evaluating the child, and if she's 11 years of age and going to school, then probably she's going to need a regular sensory diet, which is going to help her modulate and function through the day. And then maybe if time permits, once in a week, once in 15 days, regular therapy sessions.
Is there any particular time duration for timeout, or does it have to be continued till the child stops the targeted behavior? Also, can timeout be used for a child who screams all the time? Okay, so excellent question. And I think that I mentioned this probably very briefly, but certainly warrants another discussion around it. The rule of thumb with timeout is that you have 1 minute per year for the child's age. Okay? So, now wait, don't write that down. That's the rule of thumb. Now, when we look at children that have Fragile X or Fragile X and autism, there is no way that a child that has a cognitive delay, that has never done timeout before, is going to be able to do a year for their ages. So what I usually do is start by cutting that in half. And actually, when I'm trying to teach someone how to do timeout with their child, usually what I say is a minute or a minute and a half. Okay.